Hi everybody, happy Friday. Welcome to Fun Day Friday. I am Doreen at Door Designs, where every Friday I come on, do a tutorial on kind of a smaller, different fun designs, just to kind of wind down the long busy week that I'm sure we've all had. So on today's tutorial, we're going to be using this canister, and this canister came from Dollar General. We're not going to use the lid, although when you get done with the design, the lid would be really pretty displayed right next to it. So I've already filled the inside of the container with some dry floral foam. I just dipped it in my glue pot or electric skillet and then pushed everything down. And then you'll notice that on one piece of it, I left it a little bit taller. And the reason I did that, because we're going to be using this adorable bee. And I wanted the bee to sit up a little bit higher on the container. And then we're going to put florals and different things around it and then kind of back behind it and a little bit in front of the guy. The bee came from L Krupp Creations, and I hope I'm saying it right, Krupp, K-R-U-P-P, L Krupp Creations. And I've got the link in the notes for her Etsy shop. And you need to go check it out, because when I came across her page, she has some adorable pieces like this. She had frogs and bees and trying to think, bunnies, just all kinds of stuff. And this is going to be adorable in here. It's cute to sit on a tier tray or just on a tray. So adorable. So that's what we're going to use on today's design. So our first step we're going to do after you guys have this filled in, we're going to cover this with some moss. And I'm going to leave a little area open because I want him to be glued directly into the foam. So let's just go ahead and add a little bit of moss around the outside edges. The sphagnum moss came from Hobby Lobby. They typically have two colors, this bright green and then kind of just a neutral color. I'm just taking some floral pins, dipping it in my electric skillet and going straight down. And it's just going to take a couple of pins. You don't want to put too much glue, hot glue, anywhere that you're going to be putting in florals and stuff, because if you do, your stems of your florals, you'll have a really hard time getting it to go in. So just a couple on this side and we'll be ready to add our little bee. This container, these canisters, they had several different colors and sizes at Dollar General. Okay, let me get this out of the way real quick. Dump that in my trash can. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue my bee. So I'm going to kind of spread this back, and I'm just going to take some of my hot glue and go right along the bottom, which you know me, I kind of hate to do this because I like to use my pieces in different things, but there's no other way that I can get them attached. So we're going to put him down. I'm just going to hold him for a minute just to make sure he gets nice and dry. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a small piece of one of my stems for my florals, and I'm going to put a little glue and go straight down the back and glue this to the bee, just to kind of give it a little more stability when I go to ship him. I'm just going to take a little bit of the hot glue off my big stem here and go right along the side at the upper top part. Okay, because that's not going to show, but I just put that stick right down the back. Okay, so we've got Mr. B nice and attached. So let's go ahead and start having some fun and add some of our greenery. So I think what I'm going to do first, I'm going to add a couple of ferns just to kind of soften it going around the top of the canister. So let's just cut a few pieces here. I'm going to break some of these bottom ones off. I'll reuse them, but I don't want my fern to be that thick around the base. I'm going to grab my pick machine real quick because I'm going to have to pick some of these ends of the fern. There we go. The thing is so heavy. So I'm going to put probably 2 pieces of my fern together. And I'll pick them so that way I've got 2 pieces together here. And then it's going to put this steel pick on it. So we're just adding some pieces around. You can use any kind of greenery or florals that you may have, what I call on my stash. I keep a tub of all of my leftovers. I try to use all of my florals when I do a design, but there's times you just can't. But like little pieces like this, I keep, and I have one for each season for projects like this. Okay, that's probably enough. Nope, I'm gonna put one more. I can already tell I can already tell when I get done I'm gonna have a hole there. You can get these little ferns anywhere. I think I actually got this one from Randolph Mercantile, which is a local store here. Okay, there's our first piece of greenery going around our bee. I'm going to cut this long piece of moss off. Okay, next I'm going to use some greenery, some darker greenery, and I'm going to kind of fill in around it to give it a little bit more of a fullness. This greenery came from Walmart. The only thing I don't like about it, it's not a pusher. So I'm going to have to cut this down a little bit because they're going to be too long. And I'll cut a few more pieces off here. While I'm doing that, some people ask me about my clippers. I got these at I think Lowe's, and they're bolt cutters. They're DCYLE. And my turntable here, my husband made, It's just a large round piece of wood that came from, I think, Home Depot a few years ago. And he just added a turntable piece underneath it for me. But you can buy a turntable just about anywhere. But this one I like because it's nice and big. Okay, just a few more pieces. And then the other question I get asked a lot is my board that I hang my wreaths up on, where I got it. A good friend of mine made that out of some scrap wood that he had. And on my page, there is a short tutorial that gives the dimensions. Okay, we're getting pretty close to having it all filled in like I like it. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, I'm going to trim one of these in front. I don't want it coming up too high because I don't want the bee covered up in the flower. So we're going to move this one down a little bit. Because if I cover too much of the bee up, I know I'm going to get all kinds of comments. Okay, so now we have in our second greenery. So I'm going to add a little bit of height now in the back. We're going to start filling in with, I think, some yellow. This came from Hobby Lobby. I use it all the time because it comes in several colors. And I like it because it's nice and airy, but it adds a punch to your design. So we're going to, and I'm trying to do as much as I can from the front, or from the back so it's facing you guys. So if you see me looking at the camera, I'm looking at the design so I can kind of see where they're coming out. So see how that's just kind of adding that bright yellow to the bee? And I've got one more piece of this, so we're going to probably put him over here a little bit. I brought my second piece of it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do some others. I may have to run and get one more piece of that. I thought I brought two pieces when I set up the table. So now I'm going to add a little bit of lavender. I'm going to pull a few of these off. And I'll turn this back around real quick. I took some of the pieces off of the stem because I didn't want it that thick in here. So I'm going to break these up a little bit and then I'm going to pick them. Now you can buy floral picks that are the green that have the wire on the end and just wrap them together. You can use little pieces of wire. The look that I'm going for is basically that the bee is kind of sitting down in the flowers here. And I'm going to turn it around real quick So you can start to see where I'm putting some purple in there, but we're going to keep this one pretty light. If you hear some noise in the background, I apologize. My grandsons are here and they're not always the quietest. They're 6 and 8. And I didn't tell them I was going to be doing a tutorial. And I can hear the stampede going, so I apologize for that. Okay. Got just a couple more pieces. So you can see I'm just putting some around the back too. I want the back to be nice and full also, just because I don't know where this is going to be displayed, whoever purchases it. So I want it to be pretty all the way around. Okay, one more piece of the lavender. Okay, next I'm going to add a little bit of these white flowers that I have. And I used this on a design the other day, and I have a few pieces left, and I want to add it. So that way I've got 3 colors. I typically use at least 3 colors in a design. So we've got the yellow, we've got the purple, and now we've got the white. You see how that white, he just kind of looks like he's sitting down in there? So I'm going to finish adding a few pieces. So I keep like a tub like this when I'm doing a big design. So that way when I get done and I'm cleaning up, I just throw everything in that tub. And it's handy for when I do designs like this, smaller ones, to look for some filler pieces. Okay, now we're not going to have to add much more to the front. I am going to add some more pieces to the back, but look how cute he is. So on the back side, you can see, and I'm going to hold it up close, you can see some holes and gaps where you can see the top of the foam. And that's one thing you never want. You never want your customer to see the mechanics of your design. So let's put just a few pieces in there and fill that in. So I found these pieces that were left over, and see how nice and full they are? They're going to fill in perfect. See how it's getting nice and full? I'm just using all these little pieces that I have. And we're just about done. And there is our cute little bee. Okay, see right down there in the front, you can see the styrofoam right below the daisy in front. So instead of putting a flower there, since it's got that really cute flower, I'm just going to take a little piece of moss. And I'm going to put a little glue on it very carefully. And I'm just going to stick that right down there and let it dry. I don't know what I did with this other piece. What I'm going to do after the video, since I can't seem to see where I located it, this yellow flower, I'm just going to take 1 or 2 small pieces of it and bring it down in here to bring the yellow also forward. Because I've got the lavender going across the front and the back, I want a little bit of my yellow to come down in between the lavender and the white. I'm not going to put a bow on it. You could if you wanted. You could take like, but I'm not going to put a bow on this one. I don't think it needs it. But if you wanted, you could do a very simple little loop, 2-loop bow. This is scrap ribbon, that's why I'm cutting it. But I'll just show you for those who want to put a bow on theirs. You could put a bow on him. But for me, he's adorable just like he is. So you can see where I covered up that styrofoam with a little bit of that moss. You can still see the flower right here in front and nice and full. Yep, I don't know where I put that other piece. I apologize. But when I post the pictures, you'll see that it's got the yellow coming around the front. So then if you're going to put this on like a table or a tray and you're going to display it, put some other stuff around it, how cute would the jar, the lid, look cute up next to it? So I would probably put something by it to hold it up, or I would put a piece of double tape on it and tape it up. But I like it with the lid right next to the design. It just brings out the orange or the yellow gold kind of orange here with the face of the bee. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Fun Day Friday. I'm getting all this stuff out of the way so you can see it better. There we go. A little cleaner. And there is our bee. Now, if this doesn't make you happy on a Friday, I don't know what will, because he's just adorable. Whoops, adorable. So I will finish him off a little bit. Like I said, add the yellow. I will post my pictures, and he will be uploaded in my online store today. And my online store is shop.door, that's D-O-R, designs.com. And also, I'm going to put the Etsy page in for Laura, who did the bee attachment or shelf setter. So have the Good Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and I will be back next week. Take care. Bye-bye.